南无本师释迦牟尼佛。南无本师释迦牟尼佛。南无本师释迦牟尼佛。Seeking refuge in the fundamental teacher Sakyamuni Buddha. The opening gatha, Dhamma, infinitely profound and subtle, is rarely encountered even in a million kalpas. Now we are able to hear, to study, and to practice. May we fully understand and realize the Tathagata's true teachings. So, how is everybody? Good, good. So we have a new friend, Jenny at the back. Her name is Jenny, Janly. Okay, Jenny from Hong Kong. So, okay. So we go back to we go back to study this Sutra of the 42 chapters. Now we are on chapter 25. So there are how many chapters altogether? Good. You know the answer. So we are on chapter 25 and 25. Let's see, 25, it says the fire of lust consumes the body. And the Buddha said in here, people who succumb to lust are like those who walk against the wind holding a torch. They will surely burn their hands. So this is actually very similar to the last chapter. Remember? What did the last chapter say?
Sexual desire hinders the way.
Yeah, and then it's like what? So what is lust like? Yeah, from the blade of a knife, right? Yeah, licking the honey from the blade of the knife. So this is actually similar to that. Actually, these few chapters actually talk about the same thing, and is the Buddha is so kind to um, tirelessly keep reminding us the danger and the danger of indulging ourselves into this kind of mental craving. The mode of mental craving is the lust. So actually here you would think a torch actually means brightness, right? A torch, if there is a torch with a flame, that means brightness. That means actually it's a positivity. It's on the positivity side. But why why do you think that the Buddha would say such thing as the people who actually who give in to lust are like those who walk against the wind holding a torch? They will surely burn their hands. Why do you think that Buddha would actually make a simile using this torch?
Because you're attracted to the light.
Yeah,
Moth is to a flame.
yeah, yeah.
Too much brightness will cause blindness.
Too much brightness would cause blindness. Okay.
There's an expression, I'm playing with fire.
Mm-hmm. Playing with fire, yeah. And also,
There's a sense of misdirection.
okay. Anything else?
Walking against the wind with the whole while holding the torch to bring yourself.
Okay, but why would he use a torch? A torch means positivity.
Because we don't have electrical lights there.
They don't have electrical like that. Very good. It's true. It's very true. Yes.
I think they're being misguided because they're moving towards the light, thinking that something is going to be wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
Because of the intent.
Okay. Okay. What else?
Light is a different light. It's a deceiving light.
Why is a deceiving light?
It's bright, but it's too bright. It's going to hurt your eyes and, in this case, your hand.
Your hand, all right.
It's the other side.
Would the okay, but with the light, well, consider in the old days, a torch is made with what? There is a flame, right? Definitely. So it's a real flame. It's not like electric, like the one that we use. It's a flame with wood, possibly, tie with cloths at the end. So there's a real flame, a real physical flame there burning. Would that flame be permanent? Permanently there? The flame won't be there permanently. The flame would be extinguished when it's the cloths completely burned out, or the whatever that they are using is completely burned out. So this torch, even though it brings brightness, it will eventually be extinguished. Okay, all right. So when we actually surrender or we give in to lust, the desire could be so overpowering that we actually lose our own control to this desire. We actually totally become surrendered to the lust, to the desire. So in here, it says it actually carries a meaning. Is say that satisfaction, though you may it may be possible for you to fulfill the desire of lust, but the satisfaction that you get from this fulfillment is temporary. It's like the flame of the torch. It will eventually go out. Before the flame goes out, if the lust, if the desire is so strong or too strong, and it is like you are holding a flame and walk against the wind. So, but we all have seen an Olympic runner, a torch bearer, holding a torch and runs. Sometimes they run against the wind. Why wouldn't they be burned?
Because they're holding it this way.
Still clever, Sam. Yeah. And also, they are holding it high above their head and away from the body. And because the torch is so hot, so tall, that it's very rarely that they will burn their hand when we look at them. But here, of course, at that time, there wasn't any Olympic Games yet, right? At that time. So it means that they will surely burn the hands. It means that the desire in lust is so strong that they will actually burn the hand. And because when the desire is so strong, firstly, we will have a few reactions. First is that because this desire is so strong, I want to fulfill my desire. So you go and look for it. You go and pursue on that path. All right. And so when you get it, you want to possess it. You want it to linger on. You want it to stay, right? And then, well, just like what we see down south, right? They fight for presidency. Okay, then okay, somebody got it. So when somebody became the new president, that means the power, carries so much power. And if he wants or if she wants to possess that power, he or she needs to have the control. So that is the seat of power in there, right? So possessing the lust, wanting the lust to stay, wanting the lust to linger on, and after getting it, it wants to keep it going, right? Do not want to give it up at all, or do not really want it to weaken.
People stop looking at me. I'm feeling guilty.
I wasn't looking. I was just looking at the camera. Sam. and and when people are in that kind of place, people tend to forget. This will also change.
Can you say a few words about that?
This will also end, right? So it won't last forever. People forget about that. Even though they know it could be only that many years or that much time, but that illusion in the back of the mind actually could really mislead people's mind. And just like nowadays, I see so many people going to have all this cosmetic surgery and facelift and eyelid lift. I was surprised to see my brother's friend, a man, to have eyelids lift. I asked my brother, I said, Johnny, is something wrong with his eyes? He said, no. My brother said, no, he just had his eyelids being lifted. I said, what? Eyelids being lifted on the man? He said, yeah, because he wants to look smart and young. I said, oh, all right. So you see, why would people have facelift? Why would people have eyelids being lifted?
They don't like change.
Yeah,
They're clinging to their youth.
yeah, they want the youth to stay on, yep, right? So that's actually that's a flame. Not just the lust, not just the desire, not just sexual desire, but the lust for anything. Yeah. Okay. So you understand now. You've got two very strong examples of how lust can affect us. Okay. What's the result? One is like licking the honey on the blade of a sharp knife, or like holding a torch and run against the wind. Chapter 25 done. Okay. Now, chapter 26. Deva tempts the Buddha. A Deva offered the Buddha beautiful maidens, wishing to corrupt him. The Buddha told the maidens, skin bags filled with filth. Why are you here? Be gone. That means go away. I have no use for you. The Deva was filled with respect and asked the Buddha the meaning of the way. The Buddha instructed him, whereupon he attained the fruit of the stream Andhra. That means the first stage of enlightenment. This actually happened on the night of enlightenment. So we've got this. It's kind of a different story here, and what it is presented here. But we will look at chapter 26 first. Okay. So right here, the important things are actually is the story about lust. Okay, beautiful maidens, women, right? And the Buddha was a man. He was sitting on the meditation place, and before he actually went to take up that meditation place, beneath the sala tree, or you want to call it a Bodhi tree, he actually made a vow himself: if I do not become enlightened, I will not leave this seat. So those of you who are studying the book in the Buddha's words, you should have read it in the first chapter. Okay? So that the Buddha was adamant that he's going to get enlightened on that seat. So, but of course, a lot of Mara, a lot of distractions happened at that night, on those nights. Okay, And one thing was a diva actually offered the Buddha a beautiful woman wanting to actually tempt the Buddha with lust and wishing to actually stop him from being enlightened. And the Buddha told the women, he said, "You are skin bags filled with filth." That sounds really horrible, isn't it? We, we are all skin bags filled with filth. And so why are you here? Well, if you look at this carefully through with the teachings, actually that's what the Buddha have been teaching in quite a few a sutta. One of them is the Satipatthana Sutta, and also one is the can't remember the name of the English name of the sutta. Something like the path to enlightenment. Okay, so why would you think that the Buddha called the women skin back filled with filth?
That's one of the ways to overcome desire is to meditate on the fact that you're just made up of skin and bones, and it's just
Yeah,
we just
yeah, yeah,
decide that somebody's beautiful.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's just like the contemplation of death in cemetery, right? Or contemplation of death by looking at corpse, looking at dead bodies. Huh? So this is really a one way to actually overcome the desire. So there are actually two. This is sort of like a repulsive a contemplation, a repulsive reflection, is to overcome these desire and lust, and this is actually a very strong antidote to sensual the passion. Okay, and so there are two types of repulsive reflections. First type of reflecting on oneself. There are nine contemplations. First is the death contemplation. So we have talked about the death contemplation, and then the second one is also concerning to death. All right, is the bloating. When a person died. Okay, so in the old days they're being put into just the funeral pyre, or just in Tibet they put it out for the eagles to come and feed on. So the body will start to bloat up, all right, and then the body will start to become discolored, turn into gray and green and whatnot color. Okay, it sounds quite repulsive. Well, I mean, it's true. Okay, so it's discoloring, and then it becomes pussy and rotty. Okay, so that's this one. One is the death contemplation. The second one is the bloating. This is the second repulsive contemplation. The third is the discoloring, become green and gray and whatnot, and then become pussy because the skin start to rot and it cannot contain the fluid and the flesh. The flesh also start to become disintegrated. The fourth is become pussy and rotty, and then degrading and degradation and decomposition start to happen. That's the fifth repulsiveness. And then the sixth one is because the flesh is all sort of like sort of muddy and gluey, so it's sort of like you it become I'm sorry, Laurie, don't throw up, please.
I can really picture that. Sorry.
You can picture that, right? That's good, great. And it's become like smearing with blood and glue, all right. And then when the body becomes decomposed, then starting to have maggots, right? Maggots starting to Huh?
I said, that's where I'm done.
Okay, maggots start to like chew on the body. All right, and then the after all the flesh are gone, you will see the bones being interlocking with each other, right? The bones, and then eventually all the flesh gone, dissipation, complete dissipation. All the flesh and the skin and the tendons are all dissolved eventually. So that is to oneself. So you can actually, when the lust becomes so strong, if you pursue on the very serious meditation, if you actually encounter some kind of lust during your deep meditation, then you can actually start to have a couple of minutes of this kind of repulsive reflections. This is actually very, very helpful in a way to actually overcome that lust. But don't go overboard. Because once you go overboard, sometimes people get very angry and also very irritated and um, and also very like a lot of animosity. And it could go the other end. It could go to the other end. When you come out from meditation, you could, or even in meditation, you could go the other end. Is you become so angry, you rejected this sort of like this human life so badly, and sometimes people could go overboard, become so compulsive, obsessive, compulsive. Yeah, so everything is just middle path. Remember. Okay, just a few minutes to allow you to get over the obstacle, and then you come back to to whatever meditation that you have been doing. Okay, so that is the first type is you reflecting on yourself, and then the second type of reflection is you reflect on the bodies of other people. How could you reflect that? And well, you can actually reflect that onto yourself too, but both ways, all right? So the first one is the initial cause of us being born as a human being is impure. It's not pure. It's not clean. Why? Why would you say that? Because the seed to take rebirth is tainted with lust. Otherwise, we won't be born. Why? Because if we do not have that lust to, how would I say it? Because we see when we were traveling in the space, if we are being attracted to either our father or to our mother, okay, then we will be constantly floating around them, and then the karma of rebirth becomes ripened. Then we will see our subconscious, the seed in our subconsciousness floating around. We will see our father and our mother mating, and then we will enter. That's how we were conceived. That's how conception actually takes place. Okay, so us is being made of the sperm of our father and the egg of our mother. Okay, so that first cause is already, we call it impure. Because if we do not see that mating between our parents or intercourse between our parents, we won't be conceived. All right, so that is the first one. And the second one is the place where we were being nurtured to grow. That means the mother's womb. All right, and then the place where we were born, that means the vagina. They are very, very unclean. unclean. So that's the second contemplation that you can do. And then ourselves are not clean. Ourselves are impure also, just by looking at the 9 orifices. The nostrils, the ears, the eyes, the anus, the vagina, and the urethra. All these orifices, what they secrete out, are all unclean, right? So where's the cleanliness? Where's the purity? Okay, so that's another contemplation. And then our body is not pure. Our body is unclean also. And there are 36 impurities that actually made up this unclean body. So there are 12 external, there are 12 internal, and then there are 12 in between, they call. So the 12 external is, I just want to go quickly on this. The hair, the nails, the teeth, the dirt that we cover, the dust that we, that or the whatever that come out from your nose, okay, and the wax from your ear, all right, the sweat and the poop and the pee, or and the eye dirt and the tears and the snort and the phlegm. Okay, these are all unclean stuff, right? And then the intermediate one, the secondary 12, is the skin, the subcutaneous layer, the blood, our flesh, the fat, and between the subcutaneous and the fat, there is also one layer. I don't know what you call that. I call it the lard. Okay, and then the brain and the sac, and the bone and the marrow and the tendons and the lymph. And then there is the middle 12 is actually most of the organs. Okay, the heart, the liver, the bile, the lungs, the spleen, kidneys, intestine, stomach, and then the bloody phlegm, and then the white phlegm. They call it the 36 impurities in the body elements, okay? And these actually, we don't have to be so detailedly be aware of all these 36 impure elements in this body, but all these actually act as antidote to lust. It seems that it's like a threat, right? And you'll say, lust, so bad, right? But we are here as a human being, so we have desire. So then I mean, you are the wife to a man, and you are the husband to a woman. Then you say, then you go home and say, oh no, Sifu talk about lust tonight, and no, we can't have sex, or we can have the, no, no, it doesn't mean that. But it means that you could actually use that as a practice, okay? So when, as I said last time, when your awareness becomes stronger and stronger, awareness to the awareness to the urge to have that kind of sensual satisfaction, that awareness to that urge becomes stronger and stronger and stronger, then that urge will become what? Weaker and weaker and weaker. Okay, when you don't actually express that urge, when you become more and more balanced, the mind, I don't mean that when whoever actually have sex is not balanced, it's imbalanced. I don't mean that. I mean that is you don't addict to it, right? So that's the whole meaning. You don't addict to it. When you don't have it, you don't crave for it. When you have it, you don't addict to it. That's the whole thing of it. Okay. Otherwise, then the whole world will be, after we die, the whole world will die. I mean, no more younger generations, right? Okay. So the most important thing is we remember that we are not, try not to be driven by our desires, the lust, and when this lust arise, yes, we want to express it. If we cannot there is, for example, I don't have a wife, or I don't have a husband, then we just have to observe and not try to express it in other ways, right? Abusing others or raping people just to fulfill our own lust. Why would you think people rape? Because the desire is so strong, and their awareness, there is hardly any awareness. So they go and rape to fulfill their own desire. It's just so simple. Okay. So others are just objects of, for us to use to fulfill our desire. So the whole thing is, the awareness is actually very, very important. Okay. And also, when the awareness becomes strong, and that your mind become more and more balanced, more and more aware of the effects of lust on you, then you will start to draw yourself away from expressing that lust, from addicting to that lust. And then the second paragraph, it says the devil was filled with respect and asked the Buddha the meaning of the way. And the Buddha instructed him, whereupon he attained the fruit of stream enterer. Right here, actually, it did not tell you how the Buddha actually instructed him, how the Buddha actually taught him, because that's not the whole thing on this chapter. The whole thing on this chapter is about how we actually pursue on conquering ourselves with the lust. Okay, so the way he teaches it in many other parts of his teaching. Okay, so it's the same. Is here is actually the meaning of the way is to actually remove our ignorance, right? That's the whole purpose. All right. So now let us look at this Patana Sutta. It's actually talking about the great struggle of what the Buddha actually was facing. Okay, so when near the river Nirajara, I exerted myself in meditation for attaining to security from bondage. So we all know what does it mean by bondage. Bondage, that means the bondage of craving, the bondage of animosity, and ignorance, lust, and all that. All right. There came Namuchi. Namuchi actually meaning the one. This name actually has a meaning that it means the one who will not let go, who does not let go of things. Okay, speaking words of compassion. You are emaciated, that means very, very skinny, and ill-looking. You are near to death. 1,000 parts of you belong to death, and only a fraction of you is alive. Live, good sir. It is better to live. Living, you may perform meritorious deeds. From practicing celibacy and tending the sacrificial fire, much merit is made. But what is obtained from striving? It is difficult to enter the path of exertion. It is difficult to do, difficult to maintain. So in this paragraph is actually Namuchi. Mara, spoke all these words. I want you to look at the last three sentences. It is difficult to enter the path of exertion, and it is difficult to do, and it is difficult to maintain. From my aspect, it is difficult to enter the path of exertion. It's not the most difficult. It is difficult to practice. I don't think it is the most difficult. It is difficult to maintain. I think that's the most difficult. To maintain the continuity is the most difficult. Difficult to enter the path of exertion. Think of it. How many years have you been here listening to the Dhamma? Tisa and Nin has 5 years. Okay, Tisa and Nin probably more than 5 years, right? 6, 7 years, Tisa? Or more than that, or 20 years now. Yeah, we have known each other for almost 20 years. Okay, 5 years? No, more than that.
No.
More than that.
No, I don't think, I mean, I haven't been back to China, 6. So,
Okay, 5 years?
yeah, 4.5 years.
Okay. We took down the old house in 2013.
I was here already. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, Laurie is almost 3 years.
Yeah, I thought it was 2, but you're right, it's almost
3 years, yeah.
I-
Goes quickly. Carrie,
It's been almost 5.
yeah. You started from the old house, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, almost 5. Yeah, you see? So 5 years, in these 5 years, how many people you have seen come and go? How many have stayed? Only like, look, a fraction of you stay. You see? Tisa, remember the Dhamma group that you used to have? It's only you now, only tonight. Right? And I mean, you see, how many people have started on the path or have started to come and listen or have started to explore the teachings of the Buddha? How many? We have seen I could say hundreds, right? Right? Come and go, come and go, come and go. But look, 20, how many people today? 18? 20? Less than that.
45.
You're 45?
0.5.
You're 0.5. Yeah, you know what? You're only 1/4. So it is actually difficult to enter the path. Difficult enough to enter the path. And difficult enough to actually to start doing it. Right? And it's the most difficult, really, to pursue, to persevere. Because it's so easy to give up. It's so easy to say, oh, this is more important than this. That is more important than this. Because our priority, this is not our priority. Well, this is my priority, but this is not the priority of many people. Because they think Dhamma comes second, or even third, or even fourth. But for me, I think Dhamma has to come first. For you, your family should come first. And then I think Dhamma should come. Because if you have Dhamma, you will have a very harmonious family. It's a mutual thing. Because if you do not have Dhamma, then they will constantly like fight, and you won't give up, you won't give in, you won't give away, you won't have compassion for whoever in your family. So Dhamma actually should strengthen the harmonious situation in the family rather than weakening it, right? If you become a practitioner and you notice your relationship with your family weakens, something wrong with your practice. You're going down the wrong path. Come and see me, please. Really, really. A practitioner should, the family situation should improve rather than regress. Okay? Because we become more objective. We become more understanding. We become more considerate. We become more compassionate. We embrace others' shortcomings more and more. We praise others for their good deeds more and more, right? As a practitioner. Okay? Yeah, agree? Okay, good. So, and Mara spoke these words while standing in the presence of the awakened one. To Mara speaking, thus the Lord replied. I don't like this word, the Lord. I think it should say the Buddha replied. You who are the friend of the negligent, O evil one. I don't like this, O evil one, either. I think it should say, Mara, for what reason have you come here? Those who still have use for merit, Mara may consider worthwhile addressing. I have faith and energy and wisdom. So this is important. I have faith. Faith in what? Faith in whom? The Dhamma, and also yourself, and also what about the Buddha? Yeah, don't forget the Buddha. All right. And energy and wisdom. Being thus spent on striving, why do you ask me to live? This wind will wither the currents of the river. Why should not my exertion to dry up even the blood? When the blood dries up, the bile and phlegm wither. You see? This is the some of the impurities in the body. On the wasting away of the flesh, the mind becomes more and more serene, and my mindfulness, wisdom, and concentration are established more firmly. Mindfulness, wisdom, and concentration. Mindfulness is sati. Concentration is samadhi. Wisdom is panya. Yeah? Because he persevere, so his mindfulness is established. When mindfulness is established, concentration comes. When concentration comes, the mind becomes so clear, so stable, so calm, and you will start to remove all the dust that is actually hindering for you to see the truth. That means you become wise. And so in me who abides enduring such an extreme experience, the mind does not long for sensual pleasures. See the purity of a being. You see, this happens when the Buddha actually were in practicing the ascetic life, right? Sensual desire is your first army. The second is called discontent. The third is hunger and thirst. I don't think it's the first army. I think it should be the first enemy, right? I don't think it's army. It should be enemy. The fourth, craving. The fifth, sluggishness and laziness. The sixth, fear. The seventh, indecision. And the eighth, disparagement of others and stubbornness. Gain, fame, honor, prestige wrongly acquired. And whoever praises himself and despises others, these, Namuchi, are your, not armies, enemies. The dark ones, striking forces, a lazy, cowardly person cannot overcome. Cannot overcome them, but by conquering them, one gains bliss. Okay? I wear muja grass. What is the muja grass? A mucha grass is something that in the old days, Indian army wear on the head, uh, and on the head it's like a headgear, and indicating that they are prepared to die in war. Okay, in a battle, and determined not to actually give in and give up. Okay, so how determined? Shame on life here in this world. It is better for me to die in a battle than to live defeated. Okay, that's why they wear a munja grass. Some recluses and brahmanas are not seen exerting themselves here. So immersed are they in worldliness. That means they immerse in the worldly sensual desires. They are not aware of that path by which those of perfect conduct walk. Seeing the surrounding army ready and Mara mounted on his elephant, I am going out to fight so that he may not shift me from my position. This army of yours, he says the army, that means the army of Mara. The army of yours, which the world together with the devas is unable to subdue me, or that I will destroy with wisdom like an unbaked clay bowl with a stone. That means you can easily break a clay bowl with a stone. Having mastered the mind and firmly established mindfulness, I shall wander from country to country, guiding my many, many disciples. That means he travels to expound the Dhamma, and they will be diligent and energetic in practicing my teaching, the teaching of one without sensual desire, and they will go where, having gone, one does not grieve. Mara said, for 7 years I followed the Lord or the Buddha step by step, but did not find an opportunity to defeat that mindful awakened one. A crow flew around a stone, having the color of fat. Can we find even here something tender? May it be something to eat? No, the crow cannot find anything tender to eat. Nothing. Not finding anything edible, the crow left that place. As with the crow and the stone, we leave Gautama, having approached and become disheartened. Overcome by sorrow, his snoot fell from his arm, and thereupon the unhappy spirit disappeared from that place. That means Mara left the Buddha alone. It's kind of funny translation, but I rather prefer his translation than to Thanisaro translation. I think sensual desire is your first army. I don't think it was wrong, because that was the Buddha talking to Mara. That is the army of Mara. Yeah, but the enemies of a practitioner. Okay. So you can see from here the great struggle, this sutta, talking about how persevere the Buddha was, okay, when he was trying to attain his enlightenment on that meditation seat. It's not easy, right? We experience that ourselves. When we are busy or when we are tired, we just, oh, can I just go to bed? Or can I just, rest and start meditating tomorrow or the day after tomorrow or maybe next year or maybe next month? We can easily just give up, give in. And especially when we have difficulties in life, and losing friends or, whatever difficulties, vicissitudes in life, it's very easy to give up our practice. So easy. All right. So let us let's bring our attention back to the body. We allow this good thought to arise in our mind. We send all these good wishes out. for all the benefits that I gather from hearing the words of the Buddha. May I share all these benefits, all these merits with all beings, human, non human, visible, invisible, big or small, far or near. May they be free of enmity. May they be free of miseries. May they start to live in a world with brightness, warmth, and experience love and peace. May more and more people will encounter the words of the Buddha to study and to practice and to develop themselves, have the strength to overcome their vicissitudes and be happy and to be peaceful. Okay, you all have a good week. See you next week.